Do you need to build a transition for your Team America Rocket Challenge rocket? That's what I'm going to show you in this episode of the Apogee Rocketry Workshop. Hi, I'm Tim Van Milligan from Apogee Components. I'm going to show you how to build our transition section for a TARC rocket for the 2017 to 18 contest year. It's based around the BT-70 body tube, and we chose that because that's the smallest size tube that you can get an egg into, plus a little bit of padding. So the kit comes with everything you see here on the table. We got a body tube, a shroud, some centering rings, a screw eye, and a coupler. To build this, you'll pop out the centering rings from the plywood sheet. Now if they're stuck, flip them over and cut the area on the back, and it's pretty easy to do because we try to make sure that they pop out easy. These are the rings, and these are bulkheads, so don't throw these bulkheads away. You can start by taking a screw eye and twisting it into the bulkhead like that. And there's this little shaving of plywood on there. Both of the bulkheads have it. Just kind of discard that. Now put the screw eye part way in, and then take some wood glue. Got to unclog my bottle here. There we go. And put some wood glue on both the front and the back side and smear it around so that it touches both the wood and the metal screw eye. Now don't screw the screw eye all the way in. Leave it on the threads, because if you go too far in, you're going to enlarge the hole, make it easy for the screw eye to pull out. And that's going to be glued into the tube like this. Oops, didn't get all the shaving off. Just like that. Now I'm going to dry fit this first because I'm going to show you something. So the way this is going to work, and it's pretty simple. These rings, oops, there's a little shaving on the inside of there too. I didn't bring sandpaper. So I'm going to pause here. I'm going to get some sandpaper because I need to sand just a little bit. So I'll be right back. Okay, I got some sandpaper, and this is just 220 grit. Just take the paper and, oops, if you snap the ring, don't worry, it's going to be fine. That's what happens when you try to force it on the tube, so, but you do need to sand it. Once you glue the ring to the tube, it'll be plenty strong. Okay. Okay, I got one ring on. Give it a twist and it will slide easier along the tube. This one, because it's snapped, will go on a lot easier. And to make sure it will go in, and then this will glue over the ring. It will slide in there. I'm going to show you. Slide like that. This ring is going to go back here. Bulkhead goes down here. It's going to be like that. And the plastic shroud slides over the tube, over the top of the coupler, like that. And then it will go inside the tube, and so now you go from a small tube to a big tube. Now, one thing that I wanted to show you is, now you can put your eggs in the top, which is fine, but there's this little point right here. And that little point, if your eggs hit it, what do you think is going to happen? Yeah, you're going to crack your egg. So that's why you have this second bulkhead. And you can take that second bulkhead and you can glue it inside the tube ahead of this bulkhead. So now you have a nice flat surface area there to protect the egg from being poked. So I'm going to take some glue. It's inside the tube. Smear it around. Take the one bulkhead. Just slide it into the glue. Oops. Come on. You just have to be deep enough inside. It's up to you to decide where to put it. Okay? So I got one bulkhead in there. And I'll glue the other one in. Generally, this one will be glued nearest the bottom. But again, it's up to you where you want to put it. Things are always falling off the table in these videos. Okay. And I prefer to put a little fillet of glue around the back to make it stronger, because this is an anchor for the shock cord that keeps the rocket together. And we don't want this bulkhead to move at all. So a fillet of glue around the perimeter, like that, will hold it tight once that dries. Now, the instructions say to measure along the tube 3 3/4 of an inch, and that's where the front ring is going to be glued. So I got 3 3/4 inches right there, and that's where that front centering ring gets glued to. Now, here's a little trick that's not in the instructions. You can glue one of the centering rings on the back, and the one that's split, that's what I'm going to do. That will make it easier. So I'm going to glue that into the coupler, and I want this glue to set up a little bit before I slide it onto the tube. Now, be careful, don't get too much glue on the outside of the coupler, because that does have to slide into the tube. And so if there's glue on it, it may make it harder. So then you'll be sanding it off later, and I don't want to see you do that. So I am trying to thin out the glue as much as possible so that it dries a little bit quicker. The thinner the glue film, the faster it will dry. Okay, so while that one's drying, I can glue this one, this centering ring. Again, twist it, and it will slide easier. Okay, so then I'm going to smear that glue around the perimeter like that. A nice little fillet there. And then take this, and this is going to go over that. And because this glue is still wet, I'm going to be very careful. I can sand the edge of there, and I can sand around there, and that will make it a little bit looser. Like that. Okay. So I'm going to push it up a little bit. I'm going to put glue around the outside. Slide it back, and oh, I slid it off too far. That's exactly what I didn't want to do. Okay, now this one here, and I'm going to put some glue on it. Yep, pushing it out. Because I didn't let the glue dry. This is what I was afraid of. Come on. Come on. I gotta pull it all the way off, push it back together. Should have let it dry. This is what happens when you don't let the glue dry. Remember, in the instructions, we always say, let the glue dry. This is why. It's got to go inside that coupler. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let the glue dry. So I'm going to pull it all the way off. And I'm going to re-glue this, and then I'm going to come back, and we'll do it right. You can see all that excess glue there. Yeah, I'm going to be sanding that off later. So I'll be back once this glue dries. Okay, I'm back. The glue is dry. I left this in because we all mess up. Even my friends mess up, although sometimes it only seems like I mess up. Glue is pretty good. Now I want to test fit it. It's a little tight sliding over, so I'm going to need to sand it. Probably sand both the inside of the coupler and the outside of the centering ring. A little extra glue on there. Okay, that fit. I can sand off that little back edge of that centering ring. That'll make it a little easier to slide over. Now the shroud has to slide over the lumps of glue, and that works, so that's okay. All right, now we can start gluing things up. All right. So, of course, the glue bottle clogged itself too. Now this is more like the instructions where both of the rings are on the tube. I'm going to put some glue also on the back of the coupler. And of course it drips. And it's on my hand, but that's okay. Keep grabbing the glue. All right, so there we go. Now it's on. Perfect. So now there's a little bit of excess glue that came off here. There's a little bit of glue on my hand. Take that off. And on the back of the coupler, a little bit of glue oozed out. Just wipe that off too. All right. getting someplace. Okay, now the shroud slides over just like that. And once this is glued in place, we're actually done. So for this time, I'm going to use thick super glue. I'm just going to put it on the front edge of the coupler. And put it around here. Just like that. Now when that glue dries, it's done. And then the rocket, don't put it together until that glue's dry. I don't want to glue these together, but this allows you to have the rocket come apart in two parts. So I can tie my shock cord here and then anchor it inside this tube where the fins will be on the rocket. So it will look like that. And of course I got my shroud crooked. It's going to be okay. I can fill this in. Or I can leave it. For this example, I'm just going to leave it. I think I did a video on how to fix something like that. I'll have to find it and maybe link to it. If I don't, I'll show you that the next time. So that's how to build the transition section for a TARC rocket. And we're going to have another solution for this too. Come back to our website after August 2017 and you'll see that. My name is Tim Van Milligan. This is the Apogee Rocketry Workshop. May the winds be light, may the skies be blue, may all your rockets fly straight and true.